The 3 top qualifying questions to get the absolute best wholesale real estate deals. Guys, it's Rick Ginn here with Flip with Rick, and you know what to do to continue to receive the absolute best information available on wholesaling today on the internet. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. Let's talk about it. I'm going to share my top 3 questions to find the absolute best wholesale deals. What I've done is I've boiled it down into simple 3 questions, and these questions are what we call qualifying questions. A qualifying question should be a pass-fail on your script when you talk to someone. Qualifying questions simply lead you to find out what the seller's motivation is, quite honestly, if it's going to pass the snuff test for you to be able to buy a deal. Now, of my 19 years doing thousands and thousands of deals, what I've done is boiled it down to the top 3. There is no like one single right question for a qualifying question. Remember, the goal of a qualifying question is to have you size up if this deal is going to qualify for the typical types of properties you like to buy. Now, your seller should not know what your objective is when you ask that question. Well, Rick, I thought we are being transparent, but I've prepared in my mind because I know what all the objections are. I've heard every one of them. There's not one you can throw at me. Once I get an objection back to my qualifying question, I can then decide how to proceed going forward. And 9 times out of 10, a qualifying questions will either give you the answers you want for you to close your deal, or it will give you clues on the type of questions you need to continue probing to get like real specific answers. And this is the skill set that most wholesalers don't completely understand. Now, remember, it's not a sales skill. It's simply a qualifying question. And if you consistently ask them in each deal, it will help you find the true motivations of anybody selling a house. Now, we all admit at this point, not everybody we meet with is completely motivated, and that's fine. I want you to think when you ask the questions is I always talk about prioritizing your question. So obviously you got to build some rapport. At this point, I've already sat down with them. I've already set up the stage on what we're going to accomplish in our meeting. And then I'm getting down to, they've already walked me around the house. I know most of the pitfalls, and we're at that kind of the do or die moment, which is the qualifying question. A lot of you might think of qualifying questions is they also lead to what we call a trial close. Trial close, either it works and you close, or you continue to ask probing questions to get the data you need to be able to close your client. So let's jump into it. Now, I've moved these questions around a lot over the last 19 years, and only based on experience, which ones pointed the seller much closer to getting a deal and which ones, if they pointed away, I just stopped doing it. Let's just dive into it. So question number 1. If I'm able to buy your house, Mr. Seller, where are you going to be relocating to? And just shut up. Our biggest thing is we all feel really uncomfortable when there's silence, and this is where the rubber hits the pavement. You've got to shut up at this point. I used to overtalk this all the time. So as soon as I say, where are you relocating to? Literally, you got to grab your lip and just sit back and just let them respond. And don't give them, every time you talk for them, you're giving them wiggle room to come up with an answer. So leave it. That question number 1, let's think about the root of this. If I'm able to buy your house, you can phrase it however you want. I phrased it 1,000 different ways. Hey, Mr. Seller, if we can come to an agreement on actually being able to buy your house, and you can use this as a little bit of your probing question, like, even if we could, like, I don't know if we can, but even Mr. Seller, if we could put a deal together and I could ink it today, where are you going to be relocating to? And what I'm looking for is you want to go deep into their eye socket. So I'm looking at you right now on the camera. We have the luxury of doing that. I assume you're looking at me. Watch their eyes. And when their eyes look up, it means they're trying to find an answer for you. When they look down or away, they're really trying desperately not to give you the correct answer. So what I look for is that gut instinct. Hey, if I'm able to buy your house, where are you going to be relocating? Hey, I'm going to Georgia to move with my sister, and I want to have it done by the first week of August. Okay, that's a question I know there's going to be motivation there. I'm not even worried about it. Now, let's ask the question another way. I've asked a question, I shut up, there's no response. And after waiting 20, 30 seconds, hey, John, did you think about it where you'd be relocating if I was able to buy your house? And just ask it again and shut up. If he can't come up with an answer, he or she probably hasn't thought about where they're going to move. And you guys know if you've ever moved, it takes time to plan it. So an average move that's efficient takes 90 days to plan. And that's if they have all their stuff going. So most people have to get through the decision process of wrapping their head around moving before they even do it. So if they haven't made that decision to move, you are a minimum 3 months away from usually buying the house. If they spit you out an answer and tells you exactly where to go, you're definitely well under 90 days. You could be close as 30 days, as close as 2 weeks. On that first question, ask the question, shut your mouth, and see how they respond, and watch their eyes. I look for instant answers that look at you and maybe look up a little, but the minute the eyes go to the side or the bottom, I know they're fishing for an answer, which means they're not really telling me the truth, which makes our jobs tougher. Let's get to the next question. I like to throw out the white elephant in the room. It usually catches the sellers off guard. We've recently done this technique and it works. And you think it might work against you, but it actually works for you. Hey, Mr. Seller, what's your biggest concern with selling this house? Now, obviously, they're not all going to answer you truthfully, but sometimes they'll say, like, I'm nervous that you as a cash buyer is not going to come through, or you're going to do this with the house, or you're going to embarrass me in the neighborhood, or you're going to make me feel like a fool during an inspection period. So this question is saying, hey, what's your biggest concerns on the house? It's actually not about the concern of the house. It's the concern with you. That's right. You're throwing it out there and go, hey, is there any... They might tell you, hey, I don't know about your credibility, how many houses you bought. Wouldn't you rather know this up front now? A lot of investors are scared to throw this out there, but when you do this, it gives them a target to tell you if they have reservations about you. They don't have reservations ever about selling their house. They have reservations if you're going to judge them, make them feel stupid, or make it an embarrassing process. Remember, question number 2 is about you and letting them tell you your opinion of yourself. And they don't always do it, but it gives them... Some people tell you, you're just being a little too aggressive. And that's a good indicator of like where you're going with it. Remember, at the end of the day, if they don't like you and you don't build good rapport with them, none of it's going to matter. So you might as well find out where you stand in the process. The last one I like to ask, and I know it's kind of circling back on one. Okay, John, so I get it. Georgia's the place. You want to be living next to your sister. What's an ideal date that you would like to move? Just shut up. And once again, most of them are going to give you a lot of them will give you specifics. Hey, I'm moving August 19th at 2:00. U-Haul truck's coming, and that's what we're doing. Or they're like, I really haven't thought about it. And then that's when you can expand on the conversation. He goes, well, it's going to take you 30 days to close. I'm like, we might be able to do it sooner. Would you want to talk about that? And then they say, well, I got to get a moving truck and I got to move this and I got to get some helpers. Guys, remember, qualifying questions is just a small segment of when you meet with your sellers after you've built rapport. But the qualifying questions, if they have no idea where they're going to move to or what date they're going to do it, you can't afford to go really deep down your probing questions because they haven't even committed to selling the house yet. In your qualifying questions, if you're not getting the answers what you need to go back and reestablish if they actually have an interest in selling the house. Unfortunately, qualifying questions aren't the first questions we ask, but in my opinion, my humble opinion, they are the most important questions you ask. If I can't get good answers on any of these 3 qualifying questions, I know I got my work cut out for me, and I'm going to recircle back around it. Let's just review real short again the 3 simplest ways to qualify people to gauge their motivation. Remember, you can't ask this question first, although we want to, but there's nice ways of asking over the phone before you meet with them in person. Hey, Mr. Buyer, if I'm able to buy your house, what area are you looking to relocate to? They should have good, quick answers for you. It's a good time. Mr. Seller, what concerns you the most about selling your house? And just be quiet. And they might tell you, moving seems overwhelming, and then you could offer them tips and tricks and vendors and stuff like that, whatever you agree. You can recertify that you're paying closing costs if they're concerned about the cost. It's just a great section to find out. And if they go, well, I'm a little concerned because I don't know if you can actually buy the house. That's your ticket to reassure them there instead of them like making that phone call saying, hey, I want out of the deal. And then last but not least, hey, Mr. John, what's the ideal date you would like to sell your house? What's your ideal moving date? And just see how they respond again. And then once again, that should help qualify the other two questions to make sure everything's in line. Whenever I get clear, definitive answers on the qualifying questions, I know exactly where I'm going. Anytime we've missed like any of these three qualifying questions, you can have a chance to have a deal blow up on you. Remember, you want to walk everyone down a funnel, and you want to get to be able to buy their house, get them a good deal, get you a good deal, and make it a win-win for everyone. We're never looking to take advantage of people. But the qualifying question's it, man. If somebody doesn't know where they're going to relocate to, how are you going to buy their house? And 9 times 10, they're going to get sticker shock or overwhelmed when you start guiding them down it. And sometimes it's easier for them to do that part on their own. So you guys, tell me what you think. What are your qualifying questions? These are the questions that really says, are we going to do a deal that's good for both of us, or are you just looking for top dollar and you're going to give me all your problems? Qualifying questions are everything. And remember, if you have 3 of them, you can ask them different ways and you can use it to probe to get more information. And remember, if they don't always answer your qualifying questions correctly, just go back and ask more direct questions to try to get to the decision. Because at the end of the day, if they're not willing to sell your house, why are you going to spend all this time with them? It's just the truth. And so you need to start with on the phones, but when you get in person, these 3 qualifying questions, I would absolutely put them in your script and make them 100%. And guys, you all think of scripts. You can memorize it in your head. It's not that hard. It's 3 simple questions. Where are you going to be relocating to? What worries you most about this transaction? What's your ideal moving date? It's really that simple. So guys, tell me what you think on your qualifying questions. Anytime I get direct questions on any of these 3, and the more the 3 aligned, I get amazing wholesaling deals. And I want to share these tips and tricks with you so you guys can benefit from my 19 years experience. By the way, I just gave away the entire course for you on these 3 questions. Use them, incorporate them, and guys, talk to people because that's what they want to do in the end. And the more you can help solve their problem, the more you can create a win-win situations. And that's my goal, is to make sure every one of you guys are a super successful wholesaling investor making at least 6 figures. And I don't advertise for you. I don't even offer you a course. We are the only true, authentic, organic wholesalers out there on the market trying to share with you exactly how this business is done and peel back this layer of guru BS where they tell you I have the secret to show you how to do X amount of deals. Guys, there's no secrets here. We're sharing it all right here. Wholesaling Houses for Real. This is Rick with Flip with Rick. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best wholesaling information available on the internet today. And share this video with someone that you think would benefit from sharing these questions on their qualifying questions. Guys, it's Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.